Welcome back, legends. Before we crack on, do us a solid, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and chuck your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're sick to death of the political circus, check out our Albo Says Relax t-shirt, only $23 for the next 48 hours. Links in the description. Right, let's dive in. The federal election is creeping up fast, and opposition leader Peter Dutton is at the center of a political storm. His supporters say he's the strong leader Australia needs, while his critics reckon he's a hardliner who lacks vision. But here's the real question: what kind of government would Peter Dutton actually lead? Because, so far, all we've heard is, the details will follow. Sky News contributor Gary Hardgrave reckons Dutton needs to be clear and articulate about what his government would look like if he wins the next election. That's all well and good, but Australians are being asked to vote on a bloke whose plans seem to be as vague as a dodgy tradies invoice. We've got promises of common sense and practical leadership, but what does that even mean? What's the big plan, Pete? Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the so-called women problem. Labor and certain media outlets love to hammer the coalition for supposedly being out of touch with female voters. But Hardgrave reckons that's absolute rubbish. He points out that Dutton has held on to his marginal Queensland seat of Dickson for over 20 years, meaning a whole lot of women have voted for him time and time again. Either every single bloke in Dickson is voting for him while the women sit it out, or, just maybe, plenty of women actually support him. And then there's the gender politics nonsense. Some journalists, like Jenna Price from the Sydney Morning Herald, are convinced that women don't trust Dutton. But the polls tell a different story. Women across Australia seem to like where he stands on the big issues: cost of living, national security, crime. And let's be real, those aren't male or female issues. Those are issues that hit every single Aussie, whether you're a mum doing the grocery shopping, a bloke paying off a mortgage, or a young couple struggling with rent. Speaking of struggles, let's shift gears to something truly wild: astronauts stuck in space for 9 months. These poor buggers were only meant to be up there for 8 days, but thanks to technical dramas, they were stranded for nearly a year. And now, after finally making it back to Earth, they are facing another challenge: learning how to walk again. Yep, space does weird things to the human body. Their muscles have weakened, their bones have lost density, and even their hearts have changed shape. They'll need weeks, maybe months, of rehab just to get back to normal. Imagine being told to run a marathon the day after waking up from a coma. That's what these astronauts are up against. And here's the kicker: they probably wouldn't have made it back without Elon Musk. NASA alone couldn't manage the rescue, but good old Elon and his SpaceX crew made it happen. Now, whether you reckon Musk is a genius or just a rich bloke with a god complex, you've got to admit, this was a pretty impressive feat. But here's a thought: if Musk is really the smartest bloke on the planet, why isn't he focusing on curing cancer instead of planning trips to Mars? Wouldn't that be a better use of his time, talent, and billions? Hardgrave makes a fair point, though. Space exploration has led to heaps of technological advancements that benefit life on Earth. A lot of the tech in our cars, medical devices, and everyday gadgets comes straight out of the space race. So, maybe, just maybe, Musk's big space dreams will end up solving problems down here as well. Back to politics, because let's be honest, that's what's really got people fired up. This election isn't going to be decided by national polls. The real battleground is out in the suburbs, in the marginal seats where Aussies are struggling with rising prices, crime, and a government that seems more focused on playing political games than fixing real issues. Labor wants you to believe they are the only ones who can fix the cost of living crisis. But here's the reality: under their watch, everyday Aussies are copping it worse than ever. Interest rates are climbing, grocery bills are through the roof, and crime, especially in places like Victoria, is spiraling out of control. Dutton's camp reckons they have the answers, but the question remains: what are they? He's leading in the polls, he's got a loyal team behind him, and he's positioning himself as the bloke who can take on Labor's big government approach. But the big question still hangs in the air: what kind of Australia is he actually offering? Because the details will follow isn't a policy. It's a delay tactic. And that, folks, is where we leave it for today. What do you reckon? Is Dutton the leader Australia needs, or is he just another politician kicking the can down the road? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget, grab your Albo Says Relax t-shirt before the sale ends. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and stay Aussie.